Hello and welcome to the 22nd episode of Automation Campaign. We found ourselves in 2006 with a bunch of brand new cars ready to release. This means that it is going to be pretty crowded facelifting them or updating them. I'll have a bit of time before, a breath of fresh air, so I'll use this little bit of time to make a brand new engine. Now our biggest engine is this inline 6, goes up to 3.6 liters, but our engineers at Fusco and Dolcevita have determined that if you want to chase after some more performance with turbocharging and high revs, this just doesn't do it, it falls apart. So they've taken the big decision to make a V8. I'm going to make it a 4 liter V8. In the end, I've made 440 horsepower out of a 4 liter engine, and that's with fairly low boost and low cam, quite high compression as well, so the engineering prototype is really good. I've also gone for a twin throttle setup just because it's going to be our highest end engine, so why not splurge a bit more. I'm really going all in with this engine, spending a lot because I don't want to wait too much for engineering. So this is pretty much nothing to our company right now. We can do whatever we want. I've done all the engines and I'll quickly run you through them. So for the 3-cylinder engine, we have the 1.2 liter and 1 liter. This one has 87 horsepower or 78, and this has 60 and a bit. Then for the 4-cylinder, I've got a really big range here, a 2 liter which makes 300 horsepower, which should make for some really spicy cars. Then the 1.8 liter turbo with 222, the 1.5 liter turbo with around 155, 160, then the 2 liter non-turbo with around 150, the 1.8 non-turbo with almost 130, 128 if I remember, and then the 1.5 liter non-turbo with 105. And last but not least, the V6, the peak performance engine. It's a twin turbo with 400 and a bit horsepower. Then the single turbo 3 liter, which is going to replace the inline 6 we had. This has 310. Then the 2.4 turbo, which will replace the 2.8 non-turbo from the last generation. This has around 260. Then the 3 liter non-turbo, which will be used in the bigger pickup, the U200. This has 215 horsepower, and the 2.4 naturally aspirated with 175 horses. Let's get started with the new generation of the Dolcevita LP, the mid-range sedan. I'll be using this body because it also has an SUV variant, and I think I will be making one. So as standard, powerful aluminium, bonsai strength, and I think I'm going to be stepping up to multi-link suspension in the rear. Yeah, the base model will just have the base V6. And I'll see how many gears I want. If I want 7 or 8. After some good design brainstorming, I am done with the brand new Dolcevita LP, and I've simplified it down to 3 models. First off, the 24, the base model, then the 28, which has a 2.4 engine but turbocharged from 175 to 260 horsepower. It also gets some better entertainment and the limited slip differential, also bigger rims to make that difference. And last but not least, the performance one, the LP-V. V means veloce, which is speed in Italian, which works because this is a freelance company. So instead of putting another number, I've put a letter, so you know it's special. And this one has a bigger wing, the 408 horsepower twin turbo engine, all that good stuff. Sadly, I could only put in an automatic because dual clutch was too expensive to research right now, so they're all 6-speed automatics. Hopefully for the next facelift I'll be able to get in a dual clutch, and also manual didn't work, the buyers didn't want that. Now, as I've said before, I think it's time for us to make an SUV, since those are starting to really be in demand and our management is worried we are being overtaken in that aspect. For now I will just choose the SUV body, this one. Yeah, I'll probably redesign a lot of things, and what I'll be giving it is all-wheel drive. Yeah, now I've got to shorten the gears. And what else? I'll have to raise it. I think it's raised enough. Let's see what they want. Looks like I don't have any penalties, but let's see what the competition does better. So they have a bit more sportiness. I've got some more comfort. So it looks like I'll just have to trade a bit of comfort for sportiness with some suspension tuning. And we've now got an SUV. To be honest, the desirability isn't that much over 100%, so the utility sport crowd is pretty hard to please. I mean, they want a lot of power and they want it cheaper than normal premium. Maybe for a future revision I'll tweak what is included on this, but in terms of design I've tried to make it look a bit different than the base car, the LP, but still share some elements. I've also made a 2.8 version, and you know, the 28 it's not a 2.8 liter anymore, it's a 2.4 turbo, so in reality that's much more interesting to buyers. You get more power, not a lot of extra consumption. Another 6-cylinder car that I have to replace is the Dolcevita SP, the sports car, and I think that now I'll only have the high power versions. I used to have lower power versions before to sell, but now I don't want to water it down. Plus we'll have some other cars which are cheaper and slightly sporty. I'm going with this interesting design body. Construction the same as the LP. I'll see if I can go with light steel. I can also experiment with a dual clutch gearbox, maybe. And bada bing, bada boom, we've got a sports car. And what a looker this is. I've outdone myself again with these new designs. All versions of the SP will be the Dash V for now. We're just using the best, hottest 400 horsepower motor. And this one is the GT, meaning that I've tried to use a dual clutch transmission in it, and sat nav premium. The other one is just the SPV, no GT, and it has a manual transmission and CD. So just something a little bit cheaper, a little bit for the driver. I'm not going all in on the dual clutch because it may have some reliability problems. I'm doing this to gain some familiarity before putting it into more stuff. The only other car that needs facelifting with the V6 is the U200, which will be using the V6 instead of the inline 6 now. So I'll quickly do that because there won't be a lot to do. I've put in the V6, facelifted the looks, and as the alternative trim, instead of a cheaper one and expensive one, I have a double cab with a 3-liter engine and a single cab with a 2.4. I also have this DCT dual clutch prototype, which will not be going into production, but this car is good to farm familiarity on because I barely had any engineering time, so I'm using the spare one to get familiarity with a dual clutch, which I desperately need. And now for the sign off on everything that's 6-cylinder. So the SP, the LP, XP, and the U200. The C200 cargo van, that did have a V6 if you remember and you're an eager viewer, but I will be switching that to a 4-cylinder. For the SP I also added an even cheaper version with a 300 horsepower engine. For the first 4-cylinder car, I'll be refreshing the Koala, pretty much the signature car of the brand aside from the small pickup. I'm going with this body, it looks pretty tame. For this one I'm not going full double wishbone, but let's say McPherson strut on the front to take less space, and I'll see if I go double wishbone or semi-trailing arm for the rear. Yeah, the base model will have the 1.5 engine. And it looks like I got carried away making the brand new Koala, and I ended up making the brand new Dolcevita CC series. So for the Koala we've got the 1.5, 1.8 and then the 1.8 turbo as the super model with 200 and a bit horsepower. For the Dolcevita variation it's all turbo, 1.5, 1.8 and the 2-liter. The 2-liter has all-wheel drive, 300 horsepower. It should be interesting. And I think that's enough cars for one episode, so we'll do the rest 3 or 4 cars in another one and test drive these right now. So here we've got all the cars from this episode, quite a nice selection. Of course the design is very modern, especially for the Dolcevitas. So let's start with the least exciting one. I've ordered them from least to most horsepower. So here we have our humble Fusco Koala 1.8 version, so the mid-trim one. That's just what automation cars do. beamng cars don't do that, but automation cars love wheel spin. No, yeah, I guess automation tires just suck. But yeah, wow, it's very lively and peppy. Not underpowered at all, because you can just press the accelerator and go. Not difficult to get going in this one, because older Koalas were pretty underpowered. Let's see how it does when I floor it. Yeah, what did expect from 120 horsepower. But you know, it's a good, nice entry sedan, something you don't see a lot because entry cars are just hatchbacks. As I scrape the guardrail a bit, but it was very resistant, made out of pure steel. I'll see how it handles some turns. You know, a bit on the underseries side, but that's how these are. Ooh, like, yeah, a bit tail happy. Oh, yeah, so it's quite lively, I'd say. Automation tires being kind of trash, the normal ones as usual, but you know, quite a big step up from the last generation. The second car is the all-new XP series, the premium SUV, and this one has like the 190 horsepower V6. So if this has enough power, then all the other base V6 cars have enough power. Yep, well, wow, this is very good. There's no lack of power here. Let's try turning around and going on a bit of a mountain road. Man, automation tires really suck when exported to beamng for some reason, because the beamng normal tires don't scream as much. So even this base engine gets this rather heavy, actually not that heavy, I think it's 1500 kilos, but it's the heaviest car in the lineup. I mean, built on this platform, so all the cars, so even the sedan with this engine should be good. So if we're going on a nice mountain trip, it's going to do well on the twisty roads. Let's see, a gravel road here. It's got all-wheel drive, no problem. This counts with all-wheel drive standard. So for trails like this, it's very good. And you don't really have any understeer, it's quite neutral. Rather German, I'd say. But companies were trying to be like the Germans. I mean, Helvetians in this period of time. And now the sedan based on the same platform, the 4th generation LP. This one has a 2.4 turbo V6, like 260 horsepower if I remember well. So this should be a rather spicy one. Let's do the same highway test as before, because why not? And then the twist these. I have to turn off traction control because the automation one, if you have turbos in your car, doesn't like that at all. It cuts your turbo in weird ways. Yeah, it makes the car unpleasant to drive. Oh, and 140 already as I was talking here. So give it a bit of gas. Yep, it's going. This is a nice sporty sedan, and it's not even the 400 horsepower version. And I'm feeling no understeer. Great handling. Man, I've really hit the nail with this. I'll have to give myself a raise. And because this has the medium tires, they don't scream as much. Yeah, when you drive a car at its limit, you can see what's it made of. A bit floaty here, but it's still supposed to be a premium sedan. Braking, very good. Oh, there we can see the Fusco Koala. Let's try to hit the drift. Wow, this drifts. It drifts, wow. Automatic, a bit sluggish out of first. But otherwise, no issue. Lovely car this is. So this is good. I can't wait to try out the sports car. Oh, yeah, this really feels like a BeamNG car. So, because automation cars usually are either very understeer or very oversteer. This is balanced. Perfectly balanced. and the pretty great design for when it releases in like 2010. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, and these are the most sporty cars, the SPV and the CCV. This is the 300 horsepower hot hatchback, all-wheel drive. Oh wow, this explodes right off the line. Oh wow, this is a riot. Yeah, thanks gearbox. You've got these short first few gears which really give you that push. And let's bring it to like the racetrack, you know. I mean, there is a slight bit of oversteer, understeer, because it's based on a front-wheel drive car, but all-wheel drive really helping it put down the power. Yeah, I've got confidence in this new Koala platform, this new K platform, because even the humble Koala I test drove before was holding up really well dynamically. Let's hear some backfire. Yeah, automation does some weird backfire. And this first section of the track will really test its handling. And I've got grip for days understeer here, but you know, everything gets understeer in these S's. And the turbo is really quick to respond. Like, you don't feel any lag in this car, it just goes bam, so snappy. Let's see how it does the chicane. Kind of understeery, but this is fun to rip around in. Like, they're all so easy to pick up. Let's do the chicane here. Oh, yeah, still got some of that front wheel drive understeer, but otherwise it's a very fine super hatch. And now for the main event, the how is it called again? Yes, the SP-V 400 horsepower twin turbo V6. Traction control off? Yes, because otherwise it sucks. I'm having high hopes for this. And again, just blows up. Oh yeah, too much power, too much power. Maybe I need traction control. Just put it on sport. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, traction control. Your turbo keeps turning off. Yeah, I'll turn around and go to the racetrack. And here at the track with the SPV, let's get some serious slides in. Forgot it was already on. Yeah, I know this track pretty well, and I know where it can slide, how it can slide. Turn 1 is not suitable for sliding that much, but the uphills are. Can we fight the understeer? Yes, we can. Still a bit in the second one, but it starts snapping. Oh, this is a riot to drive. You've kind of got your hands full. This is not as tame as the other ones, which is good because we need some excitement. And this one is taken relatively easily. Like if something can steer through this, then you know it can handle. Do I lift off here? Yes, I chicken out and lift off. But yeah, you really have to be careful with the throttle if you have no traction control. Wow, 264. Oh no. Oh, and maybe I should have braked earlier, but it's a tricky braking zone here. Well, you know, a sports car is gonna be legendary when it gets crashed on the first test drive. Nevertheless, we continue with this lap. This is where you get the slides. Oh yes. This is the one through the corkscrew. Yeah, and I failed to do that slide, but another tricky braking zone is this one. Let's see if I can do this. Yes, and then turn one is also pretty tricky. So if I can do that, then I guess the big crash was a driver error. Yeah, I was braking too late for that one. Otherwise it's stable, but you know, I broke too late, panicked, steered. So maybe in the future more rear tires and a slightly bigger spoiler. But you know, this is fine as it is. I can go on all day, but this episode has got to end, so I'll see you next time.